It's the Loni Swain Show, weekdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WGCI FM Chicago. Joining us from the Anti-Cruelty Society, Tatiana Garrett here. And
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. We're here talking about Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we've really been talking about defining what domestic violence is, and it's so much more than just spousal abuse or abuse in a romantic relationship, but you're here to inform us about the other relationships between violence in the household, not only with human beings, but also with animals.
Correct. And, we have the history of you helping for, I think several years now with our Exploring the Link. It's an anti-violence after-school program for high school students. And it's a 9-week course, and we talk about so many different things that are related to anti-violence. And it's, we're talking about aspects of violence and poverty and some of these multifaceted issues. You're right, it is not just a simple thing of it's, a married couple in a household. Violence is something that affects so many different people. And it can be elder abuse, it can be spousal abuse, it can be teen dating violence. And the teenagers that we have in that class that you come and talk to, they need role models, they need career counseling, they need all these other things to inspire them to stay in positive directions, to pursue their education. And, the aspects of violence, again, to focus on are the elder abuse, spousal abuse, the domestic violence between, within a house, but there's also animal cruelty, and there is also the teen dating violence and the bullying that the kids have to deal with so specifically. So, there's a lot of issues behind it. We also look at communities that deal with dogfighting and the violence that explodes around there. I've sadly seen classes of 6- and 7-year-old girls where every young girl in that class has seen a dogfight, has been to one live.
Wow.
And what that does to a community when children are brought up around that violence is horrible. I mean, what hope is there for them to have these positive, healthy relationships if they see so much violence? There is a researched and documented connection between human-directed violence, violence amongst people, and animal cruelty. And we see it in all aspects. We know that when raids are done on dogfights, there's always multiple arrests. It's related to gangs. There's drugs, guns, other violence that's there. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why the level of the felony conviction goes up if minors are present, because of the fact that it's used as a tool to really infect communities with violence and in some forms to initiate children into the culture of gangs and violence. We look at statistics done on serial killers, and we know that almost all of them have started off with cruelty or torture to animals before they turn to people. We look at shelter statistics, domestic violence shelters. When women were admitted to a shelter, there was a study that showed 88% of them reported if they had a pet at home that the pet was also abused, killed, or mistreated in that way too. And that's just self-reporting, so it may even be higher. What was really shocking to me, though, is that about 33%, 1/3 of those women with children, so admitted to a shelter, if they have a pet at home, the child themselves had turned to abuse or kill or maim their pet. So it just reinforces this kind of common sense that we've heard all these quotes. Martin Luther King talked about violence in communities and the horrific effects of it. Gandhi says that the morality of a nation can be judged by the way it treats its animals. Margaret Mead said that the worst thing that can happen for a child is for him to harm an animal and get away with it. Animal cruelty kills respect for life. And we know that there are just these connections between all forms of violence. So, just doing things that foster compassion and empathy and positive things, that's what humane education and what we do at the Anti-Cruelty Society, that's what it's all about, is sitting with the teens and having role models like you come in and talk about, there's ways of using your strength for good and helping other people and being a role model and, stay in school and find things you're passionate about and study them and be inspired and be a contributor to your community and help other people.
Builder and not tearing it down. Or
Absolutely.
And now, for people that are in situations that may be abusive and involving both spousal abuse, animal abuse, things like that, you all offer some resources for them. Can you tell us about what they are?
We do. The Anti-Cruelty Society offers a program called SAFE, which stands for Short-Term Accommodations for Emergencies. So right now in the city of Chicago, there is no domestic violence shelter that will allow someone to go with a pet, and that can be devastating. There have been cases around the country where people have been killed because the animal is the one living being that's still there to give that person unconditional love. The abuser has segregated them from their family, cut them off from their support network. So their pet is there to give them unconditional love, telling them, hey, come away into a shelter and leave the animal there where your abuser might use that animal as a pawn to control you, isn't an option for some people. So to help those people, and actually in Illinois just a couple years ago, orders of protection were expanded to include pets, so that's another great help that people have in Chicago. But the Anti-Cruelty Society provides free foster care for those pets, so we will take their dogs or cats in and provide free temporary foster care. All they need is someone from their program, whether it's the shelter, emergency first responders, someone to just corroborate the story. We'll take in the pet for free for them for temporary foster care. And then we also have our anti-violence program for high school students. It's called Exploring the Link. That's the program that you've come in and provided inspiration for those kids. It's a 9-week program. We have a fall semester and a spring semester. And you can go online to www.anticruelty.org/afterschool. You can download the application. And the fall semester starts in October, so we're in one right now. Spring semester starts every February.